That was a serious intro.
Best Eminem song since maybe Relapse, says Troy.
Welcome to our official review for the Death of Slim Shady by Eminem. His new studio album in 2024. There's been a lot of different people calling this maybe his best album in a decade. So Lou and I are going to be going through the entire breakdown in today's episode. And guys, if you want to check our first reaction to the Death of Slim Shady, we did a full live stream with the Patreon community. You guys know how it goes. So if you want to check it out, check the link in the pinned comment. All you have to do is subscribe to the reaction tier, and you'll be able to access all of our reactions, including this one, Mr. Mar on the Big Steppers, Utopia, etc. But Lou, let's get into this artist performance. So, you and I delivered the first thoughts on Friday, and we were kind of mixed about this album. But going into my fourth, fifth, sixth listen, I think this is a really solid performance from M throughout most of the track list, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I want to say this. I don't think it's a return to glory for Eminem, but it's a fucking hell of a fucking listen, bro. Like, if you're an Eminem fan, you're really going to enjoy a lot of these performances. So I feel like, for the most part, there's highs and lows across the project, right? Like, starting off with some of the highs, he comes out strong out the gate on Renaissance, giving you sort of this performance that's very confident in his flows and that reminds you flow-wise of Business off of the Eminem show and that 2002 Eminem, and it proves that you could still get top tier rapping performances from Eminem when he decides to give them to you. Another massive highlight performance wise for me had to be on the song Fuel, which is a song obviously about Eminem's longevity, and he's rapping with so much passion, so much intensity, and I love that he has this portion of the song where he's using assonance and alliteration simultaneously when he raps. Got the most content on the continent and constant compliments give me confidence, a cross of common sense and incompetence. I'm cognizant that conflicts are consequence of accomplishments accomplished through competition, and it keeps going, bro. Like, that was an insane performance.
What are the highlights
on that track?
Yeah, performance-wise, I think that's definitely one of them. Another big indicator for me with this album, at least with the Eminem performance, was it felt like he was comfortable. That was something that I said in the first thoughts, and kind of after my repeated listens, it kind of reaffirmed to me that, you know what, he still does have it. He's able to tap into that mode, and you're going to see that, let's say, on verses like verse 1 of Antichrist, or even the second verse of Lucifer. He's catching these quick pockets, and he's catching these flows that I haven't heard from M since maybe Hell the Sequel. And that's that type of Eminem that I fell in love with, and that type of intricacy that I absolutely adore. Not only that, but you're getting a lot more passionate and really well-constructed performances on different songs. For example, like Somebody Save Me. That was great, passionate performance. We're going to get a bit more into that, let's say, on the content matter. Even something like, let's say, Temporary. That was great as well. I love it when Eminem gets into like that beautiful sort of bag and he's able to deliver on an emotional front. So you also see that duality with him. Another performance that I really enjoyed, actually, was Brand New Dance. And I know you and I are going to have kind of opposing opinions on this because I know how you feel about the Encore era. But this brought me back to like the Just Lose It sort of era where Eminem's coming in with a lot more of like a comedic sort of performance where he's having fun with the flows. You know what? It's just kind of like, it's a bit more like Jello-esque as far as the way that he's delivering these verses. So I appreciated that from him, and I really like that as far as the album performance goes.
So when it comes to Brand New Dance, I'll give you my take on it. Obviously, if you guys didn't know, it's actually a reworked song from 2004. It was a song that was initially titled Christopher Reeves, and it's a parody song, right? So it's either he makes you laugh with the ridiculous lines or he doesn't. And to me, it didn't make me laugh. I feel like there was nothing memorable or hilarious being said. And I also feel like, let me finish my thought. I also feel like when it comes down to it, like, it's just pure nostalgia bait, right? Like, he's choosing an old target and he's not adding any new clever disses or anything that can make it feel like it merits existence in 2024. So for me, it was just a song that didn't do anything for me.
But we'll talk about
more.
we'll talk about the content of that song maybe like closer into the content section. But a performance that I didn't enjoy, by the way.
Yeah, let's get into the ones we didn't like.
Road Rage. I really didn't enjoy that performance, if I'm being honest with you, especially for the first verse. He's coming back with like that music to be murdered by a choppy-esque flow.
Yes.
And I feel like that's something that I never really enjoyed as an Eminem fan. I know a lot of you guys maybe do enjoy it, but especially when he starts off the verse, I rock around more confused, whatever the case may be. It's just like he's trying to fit too much within his lines, and then the rhyme structure kind of gets like slimmer and slimmer, and it just feels like he's trying to pack too much, and it kind of just feels awkward as far as the performance goes in comparison, let's say, to an Antichrist, let's say, something else on like a Renaissance, for example, where he's a lot more comfortable, everything's coming out a lot smoother. But how about you? Any other standout performances where you're like, this is not for me?
Yeah, definitely super choppy flows on songs like Road Rage and Bad One as well. And like you said, it's that modern music to be murdered by type Eminem, where he sounds void of any rhythm, and he also sounds pretty robotic. Like, if you want a specific example, you can go to, I jotted it down here, 250 mark to 304 on the song Bad One. If that's not stiff and robotic delivery to you, you're playing yourself. Like, there's no way you can defend those performances, in my opinion. But speaking about Antichrist, that was another highlight for me. I felt like it was one of his most complete and dynamic performances.
It really was.
From the ad-libs to the grunts to the variety of flows that you're hearing him spit. And him even tackling the hook that sounded like maybe a Relapse era hook from him as well. That was a big highlight. But ultimately, for me, I feel like the performance was good from Eminem. I feel like he was more captivating when he actually tapped into the Slim Shady older style of Eminem. And you definitely hear distinct voice changes when he's rapping as new Eminem and older Eminem. And I feel like he strains his vocal cords and adds more passion with the vintage Eminem.
Yeah, but there's also like a vocal effect that's used when he's kind of differentiating from, let's say, like the Slim Shady ego going into, like, let's say, Marshall himself. And, we're going to be talking about that as far as the content goes. But, all right, man, good rating is a fair one. But let's go into the content matter. So we saw the comments, and apparently we didn't understand this concept. Listen, it doesn't take a fucking genius to use genius. So we decided to open it up, and we went through it again. And while, yes, maybe it was confusing after the first listen, I feel like it's gotten clearer. And I feel like there's a pretty cool concept throughout it. And this is the way that I feel about the concept generally, and then we're going to go into track by track, kind of piecing it all together. I feel like Eminem's at a point in his career where maybe he wants to put the Slim Shady alter ego away. And he doesn't necessarily want to use it ever again, because a big complaint from a lot of different fans over the years has been, why don't you tap back into it? It works so well for so many different studio albums.
And I've been guilty of that as well.
Absolutely. You look at the Slim Shady LP, you look at Relapse, that was a full-fledged concept record about like an older Slim Shady alter ego. Man, these are fantastic records in his catalog. On the other side of the coin, though, you have Eminem singing in this album like, I have gone through so much with this alter ego. I have done so much with this fictional character in my catalog and my lore, and I'm kind of fucking done with it. And you really do hear it on Guilty Conscience, too. And it almost becomes like, I also kind of did a lot of fuck shit with it, And I kind of feel like I've just kind of used it as a scapegoat for kind of fucked up angles that I took in the past with my lyrics and with different things that I took. Now, am I entertained by those lyrics on those angles from previous albums? Absolutely. Some of my favorite material from a rapper of all time. But how did you feel about it? Because obviously there are certain songs that don't necessarily follow suit with that theme. It kind of goes off the board in certain areas. So did you feel like it was well executed upon for, let's say, that 1 to 12 run? Or do you feel like maybe there could have been more? Like, just how did you like it going into your multiple repeated listens?
So, yeah, I mean, you finally get that coup de grace on Guilty Conscience, too. And I felt like that was sort of, obviously, it was the death of Slim Shady, you could say. But it was kind of anticlimactic for me, just because you're getting Eminem killing off Slim Shady, and then he wakes up and it's all a dream, and then you get more tracks to follow. I feel like it would have had more impact if that was maybe the outro of the album. I think that could have been a really good segue into this next era for Eminem. But ultimately, I do like the fact that throughout the album, Eminem is having this internal war between the Slim Shady character and Marshall Mathers himself. And to be honest with you, if you really look at it, like, the whole concept of the album to me is really a prototype based off of what you heard on My Darling off of Relapse, which is a song where you're really getting Eminem versus the Slim Shady alter ego, who some people interpret it as being the devil, but if you really go deep into it, it's really him versus Slim Shady. And I feel like that's what this album is built up off of. And it's him sort of being conflicted with the Slim Shady alter ego, being like, he brought me all of this fame. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. But at that same time, I have so many bad memories attached to this because this Slim Shady alter ego was fueled by my drug addiction and has been fueled by this sort of box that the fans have put me in to always want to be this guy. And I've outgrown him. I'm in my 50s now. I want to put this character to bed. And I feel like, in a way, he makes a caricature of Slim Shady and almost parodies him on the first half of the track list. So it was interesting to see him explore all of that. But to get specific, I mean, Eminem is being a renegade musically, right? Like, he's seeing how much he could push the limits of how the fucked up shit he could say. Like, there's definitely laugh out loud moments with the controversial bars, like him hanging on the left wing of Epstein's jet, wanting to hop on with Ben Affleck that make you laugh out loud.
Or like Nicki Minaj scissoring with fucking Megan Thee Stallion. Like, it's, you know, you're going to find that outlandish, Slim Shady-esque content throughout the entire album. And to be honest with you, throughout multiple listens, I really enjoy it. And I actually enjoyed it, to be quite honest with you, on something like Antichrist. I wanted to go into that because the first, I think it was the second verse that was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, knock, knock, who's there, boo? Hey, why you crying, shorty? Ew, because I booed you. Like, I found it funny, you know? Like, I like those, like, little comedic bits as far as the album goes. And that's something that I want to say about the content matter as well, is that it's super funny. It's entertaining, you know, and that's something that I've always loved Eminem for, and to be able to get it back now and to be able to go into the album again and find that type of replay value for me has been super fun. So I feel like that's really cool, but you're also going to get your fair share of emotional performances, especially towards the latter half of the track list when you go into something like
Temporary,
Somebody Save Me, you know, kind of like your open letter to Haley sort of, you know, formats, where Eminem's obviously done this in the past with, let's say, a Mockingbird or a Beautiful. So how did you feel like he executed upon those tracks, and did you like the writing within those tracks?
Yeah, so Temporary is a song, obviously it's open letter to Haley, like you said, where it's meant for her to listen to after he passes away, and he's telling her to move on and to be strong. And he's made this song before, and he's done it better with When I'm Gone. It's really a copy and paste of that track, the same way that I felt about Houdini, the lead single, where it's like, this is just another version of Without Me. So I think it's heartfelt. I think it's sweet. I don't think that there's really too many nitpicks that I have with the track. Well, maybe one that I'll get into in another category. But ultimately, it was cool, but he had done it before. When you go to Somebody Save Me, that was a bit more interesting for me.
Well, people are saying that that's kind of maybe like a template version of a Rose, to where he's taking his drug addiction and he's kind of going through all the things he would have missed, and obviously like talking to Haley as well, and kind of saying, well, I'm sorry I missed this, I'm sorry I missed that. So I feel like these were strong points within the writing, and I'll always invite them for an Eminem album. I really do feel like they're strong cuts.
I just want to add to that because, yeah, I definitely think that Somebody Saves Me, sort of this alternate reality where Eminem is saying, well, if Slim Shady did take over, not in the music, but in my life, then I would have missed walking Haley down the aisle, and I would have missed these special moments throughout Haley and Elena's lives, you know what I mean? So I think it was a pretty cool concept in that sense. Apart from that, I want to go through, obviously you have your super cringy bars across the album.
Yeah.
On Bad One, he raps, girl, my head is swole, I feel incredible as the Hulk, meaning I'm trying to smash, or money pile like I'm Tony Stark's, that's how much I earn, man. So yeah, you're gonna get your fair share of those, and obviously the quickest way to get hammered in 2024 is just take a shot every time he mentions Caitlyn Jenner, which I think plays into the concept of like, well, you want Shady in 2024, this is what he would be like, for better or worse.
Yeah, you're also going to get like some Eminem gloating that I felt like was whatever on Head Honcho. You know, some bars here like, to see some shit that make you faint like you faking a jab. Bitch, you wish you had a life like mine. You just fantasize the shit you write. You guys like lying. You know, it just like, it feels a bit empty for Eminem writing. He's never been that guy to do that. You
Yeah.
know, and like I'm not sticking it to him. He could obviously take his victory laps. It felt like a bit forceful, and that was another song that I felt like, oh well, that's a weird verse for Eminem. You know, at least in my opinion.
And how did you feel about all the callbacks and all the fan service? Because there's moments like, for example, on Habits where he ends off the song rapping, "I'm just playing little people, you know I love you," which is how he ends off songs like Kill You, where he rapped, "I'm just playing ladies, you know I love you,"
I
or
love
even
it.
other callbacks like him using the Christopher Reeves voice at the end of Brand New Dance.
With the
or,
voice quarter.
Yeah, or him also rapping "You're Still Depressed, Wet Dream" on Antichrist, which is a callback to the Till I Collapse lyrics. Like, did you like the fan
I love
service?
that, absolutely. It's fan service, and I'm a fan, so the service was definitely done in good taste. Like, I'm a big fan of a song like Rain Man, for example. So, like, that voice coder is just fucking legendary to me. You know, even the fan service of Ken Kniff towards the end of the track list.
Hilarious, bro.
Like, because he fucking knew that you were not going to get away with delivering this album without having Ken fucking Kniff. I have a hot take, ladies and gentlemen. The Ken Kniff character, or maybe those skits, are some of the best skits that I've ever gotten throughout hip hop.
100%. And I love that he did the half a bag of Viagra, just because I hated that hook when I first heard it. So I'm like, to hear Eminem make fun of it himself just makes it all that much more
and
enjoyable.
it's kind of
for
like,
me.
it's hilarious because he's in this like open walking hall, and he's kind of walking, and he's looking for someone to kind of impose himself on, and you know, it's that classic, it's like that classic Ken Kniff sort of stuff that you absolutely enjoy. And even going into Guilty Conscious 2, the only time that I felt like a callback was maybe, I don't know, it didn't necessarily fit for me, or I felt like, well, maybe this could have been used better, was the call to Paul Rosenberg. So, example, you kind of end off the narrative of the album on Guilty Conscious 2 to a certain extent, and he calls Paul and basically says, man, you know, this is happening to me, you know, I had this dream that these people are coming on. Paul's just like, fuck you, and hangs up the phone.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I get it, because Paul Rosenberg's and of course legendary people like Steve Berman from Interscope Records, they've been sprinkled throughout all of Eminem's records, especially the early ones. I just felt like maybe that could have been used in a bit of a better fashion.
Yeah, so before we wrap it up, execution of the concept. We know we did a concept album. We know that people are raving about it. Was it well executed to you?
In certain areas, yes. In certain areas, I feel like it could have maybe been improved.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you have to listen maybe well, no, hold on. I want to retract that statement. To understand the concept fully, I feel like you have to listen to 1 to 12.
Yes.
1 to 12. And then after that, you do get value writing-wise after that track list and after that point. But I feel like you'll really, truly understand it after that. So I think, yeah, it was good. Was it his best concept record to date? No. For example, like going through a Relapse concept, like that writing's fucking twisted and wicked.
Yeah.
And like you have certain songs that really like tie into each other. Like example, like the Tanya skits and like Same Song and Dance. So you're not gonna get that level of conceptual prowess from Eminem. But regardless, though, it was so cool to see it happen throughout this album, and I'll take it as a fan.
Yeah, because that was like a full-on character study of like the worst version of Slim Shady. With this, it just felt like Eminem was saying, you know what, fuck Slim Shady, I'm done with him for good. And in the meantime, I'm gonna scorch the earth one last time, get all of you guys into my album because it's called The Death of Slim Shady. You know, I'm gonna hop back into that era. And while I'm in the zone, I'm gonna give you what you want, but also put it to bed and do it in a creative way. And I think it could have been executed upon better, but I still appreciate the ambition. Good score for the content.
Absolutely.
Let's go on to the features now, and a lot of features on the project. A lot of artists that just offer hooks, a couple that offer verses. Where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about Jid first because that's the biggest talking point?
Let's do the
Easily,
Jid
we
verse.
could agree the best feature on the album.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Big Sean. We'll get on to Big Sean next. I feel like him and Big Sean probably still the show as far as features go. So there's the big debate going around online and in the Twitter spaces. Who got who? Who do you think
It's
got
not
it?
even a debate, bro.
I think Eminem got
I
it.
think Jid really held his own. He had a fantastic verse. I love the speeds he was rapping at, the multiple flows. Him rapping about like the cycles that ATL natives will find themselves trapped in. Like everything was A1, but Eminem's performance was,
especially with the alliteration at the end. It was stupid.
fucking
It was close
incredible.
to double in runtime. The
Yeah.
punchlines were exquisite. The alliteration bar that you went through for the artist performance, like I think the value really lies there. But regardless, though, this is a feature of the year contender for me.
It is.
It's gonna probably end up in my top 10 features of the year if we end up doing that episode on Spotify.
And I love how tight the rhyme scheme was because he knew he had to play into that realm when hopping on an Eminem song. And you had lines like "eyes all red, full of rage, and it's hard to escape from a dark place." So cool internal rhyme scheme.
But you know what? This proves how hard it is to rap with Eminem to a certain extent.
It does.
Like, to be able to rap with this guy, you have to bring your A game, and people really discredit him and discredit his technical ability. And you're finding one of the best informed rappers at the moment. We could argue that JID is one of the best informed rappers in 2024, and he still wasn't able to get a 50-year-old Eminem.
No,
He wasn't able to get him.
he wasn't.
I don't know if it was a product maybe of it being his own album, and like JID maybe sent him the verse and he rewrote it. Whatever the case may be, the end product is the end product. Eminem got JID.
He got him by a long shot. To me.
Absolutely.
Might be a hot take.
That's a
but-
hot take, but regardless, though, best feature on the album. But let's go on to Tobey. So I really like this song. My gripes with this song are going to maybe come in on the production half of things, but the features themselves, I mean, listen, we got a good Detroit collaboration. You got
Yeah.
Babytron. Of course, he's been making absolutely big waves throughout the Detroit scene and also internationally at this point. So it was cool to see Eminem give him that official cosign. Get Big Sean. They're no strangers to each other, especially after their collaborations on I Decided. So how did you feel about the verses finally, and how did they feel in the context of the album experience?
Yeah, so Babytron was cool. You know, he took care of the majority of the song, right? He had the verse, he had the hook. It was all right. I felt like he performed pretty well. Big Sean, on the other hand, I love the energy that he brought. I felt like he was super lively on that track. Nice flows. Bars a bit underwhelming, though. The more I went into it, I'm like, you know what? Some of these puns and punchlines aren't really hitting that hard whatsoever. So I was cool with those features. Nothing crazy. Let's keep on going, though. Skylar Grey is featured on Temporary, and there's always, you know, memes and jokes about Skylar Grey features being on Eminem albums. And I'll be honest, I didn't really love her vocals too much. I felt like they were super bland. I felt like, you know, a song like that on a hook like that is supposed to evoke emotion. It didn't really do it for me. You just got like,
That's crazy.
you got some,
I like the
you got like
perform-
some cheesy '09 piano pop radio vibes. Like that's kind of how I felt
so
about
that's
the
what you're
performance.
gonna take out of it.
2009
She had
pop
good
vibes,
vocals.
you
It's
know?
fucking Skylar
It was-
Grey, bro.
it
It's
was
not
just super
Celine Dion.
bland. It
You're
was
not
super
gonna, you're not
bland
gonna
for
get
me.
Celine Dion vocals on this. Whatever. She did her thing.
She did her
it was
thing,
cool.
yeah.
It was cool. It worked for the hook. She had nice vocals. Actually, you know what? Really
it
nice
just
vocals.
felt, it felt like a factory Skylar Grey like
Oh,
hook.
of course
you know
it
what
was,
I
but
mean?
like he's been doing it since recovery.
I know, I
So at
know.
this point, like, what do you really expect? Let's go on to Jelly Roll. On Somebody Save
Shout out
Me.
to Jelly Roll. So that was a sample from his song "Save
Yeah.
Me." Super well utilized. I
sure.
thought he sounded great.
Absolutely. Well, that song itself is great, so I think that works super well there. You want to go on to White Gold. So
White Gold.
I believe White Gold has two features. One of them being on Bad One, and then the other one
Habits.
is going to be on Habits. Yeah.
Not really big on the hooks. On Habits, he's like, I guess, singing from the perspective of Slim Shady. Nothing that's vocally impressive or catchy hook wise.
And then after that, once you start getting into Bad One,
Yeah.
the hook's a bit fromage, you know.
I'm
gotta-
going platinum. Oh, I'm going gold now. I'm going diamond. Like, all right.
Yeah, I just put up Fidel. Anyways, I don't even want to go into it, bro. I'm cool. I'm
That
cool.
was
Yeah,
weak. It was
whatever.
weak.
It was definitely a weak feature for the track
Let's
list.
talk about Easy Mill, who is signed to Shady Records, who some people call Eminem's protege. I'll be honest, I don't understand Eminem's fascination with him as an MC. He does the bilingual rapping thing, and the bars don't really impress. The performance isn't all that captivating. I don't like his hook either. I don't know what you can get out of it, but hey, if you enjoyed it, sure.
All you hoes got your checks, but I'm a queen when I run up. Cross a king with my hunters, shooting threes in abundance. Whatever.
Yeah, man.
And like I'm cool with it. Like honestly, as far as like the Easy Mill and I would say White Gold features goes, I'm not necessarily too impressed. But is there anything else that we need to talk about?
Yes, we do. There is Bizarre on Antichrist. What a
Shut-
return. Some fucking funny ass one-liners like "Where is Megan the Stallion at? I want to suck that toe." Just a great end to a classic Slim Shady vibe.
It's one of the best songs off of the album
For
as
sure.
far as production goes, rapping performance goes, like feature goes. My goodness, bro.
And yeah, apart from that, you get like what? You get them joints on the Road Rage hook, which is pretty awful. We just saying "vroom vroom."
With a dirty rubber plus my homeless mother, where Bruce Jenner at? I want to fuck that hoe.
Bizarre.
It's fine because I can imagine him like even like spitting these bars, bro.
I know.
And they're for sure crying of laughter in the studio. But overall, I feel like the features were good.
Yeah.
Features were solid.
It's
It was a
it's
W.
consistent across the board in terms of like just the scores we're giving. It seems
Yeah,
like.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But okay, when I get into production,
Let's get into the production. I'll be honest with you. Well, first I want to go through the production credits. It was handled obviously by Eminem, who actually took a big part of the credits. Dr. Dre, I believe, had 2 credits himself. Luis Resto, who's been working with Eminem for a long time. Dem Joints, Q Beats, Fred Rec, and others. And I feel like the instrumentals like share the classic formula of older Eminem albums in terms of like they're made up of like these looped minor key synth lines that are very simplistic.
like on a Houdini, for example, or even
Yeah.
like a brand new dance. So,
And to be honest with you, like there's definitely standout beats that we'll get into.
but you didn't like the loop on brand new dance, did you?
No, I really hated like it had like that old funk you would hear on beats from Encore, but that squeaky ass horn was so irritating, bro. One of the worst beats of the year.
You
for
see,
me.
I like that loop. I really did enjoy it. It's kind of crazy how we really have different opinions on that song. So I guess it's maybe different for you and I when it comes to Encore. But regardless, I want to talk about maybe Renaissance to start off. That
Yeah.
production was great.
Yes.
You know, brought me back to that 2002 Eminem. I love the chord loop on that song itself. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, wow, we're in for a big surprise, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. And I love the drums as well. Gives me like that Till I Collapse sort of energy to a certain extent. And I could even say that maybe the Eminem show has some of the best drums for an Eminem album as far as different songs go, like a Business or even like a White America or even like a Till I Collapse. So to be able to get that type of feeling again from a Renaissance was super cool to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just love how it sets up a dark atmosphere also with those operatic choir vocals and the haunting piano keys. It was great. Another beat that I want to talk about that's my favorite production on this entire album is Lucifer, where you get this jangly guitar chord on loop and some hard-hitting drums.
Crazy.
I love the cinematic sound effects too, like the police sirens ringing off. So Dr. Dre, bro, of course he's not going to disappoint.
Yeah,
and
he's not gonna
Eminem
do-
just found the perfect pockets to slide in over that production. And I wish we got more Dre beats. And I wish, to be honest, that the Bass Brothers came back. But
Oh, that would have been crazy.
but yeah, it is what it is.
How did you feel about the production overall, though, throughout all of it?
Overall, like I said, production was pretty simplistic. You know, a lot of looped piano chords and hard-hitting drums. Sometimes you get some trap drums and him rapping over some 808s. For example, on a song like Road Rage, where you have these dying flutes tucked behind those 808s.
Or even something like a Head Honcho, for example, where you get some like trap drums behind that. A beat that I wish could have been a bit more dynamic was probably Tobey. And that was a song that we were like, well, maybe if you had a bit more of a dynamic production, that song would have probably came out a bit better. Because like you said, you have like that synth loop that keeps going on and on and on. But you know, that song's pretty heavy in runtime in comparison to the rest of the album. So you get there towards like the 3-minute mark and you're like, is this going to change at a certain point? Are we going to maybe get like a tempo switch? Like, what are we going to get throughout this? So
Yeah,
that's
like
maybe a bit of a
you
nitpick.
get some
for
like
me.
minor electric guitars playing later on, but it doesn't really change the tempo or the feeling the production gives you. I'm kind of stuck between mid and good rating for the production.
I give it a
think
good
it's the
rating.
weakest aspect.
I think it maybe is one of the weaker aspects, but
Yeah.
you still like you have solid production.
Yeah,
on
we
this.
can go with it. That's fine.
Yeah, we could go good.
I'm
with it.
okay with that. All right, let's
But
go
all
into
right.
the replay value. So this is an album that's definitely sounding better to me with each listen, and I feel like this is an album that isn't made for someone that's just getting now into Eminem or someone that wants to be, you know, a fucking nerdy prick that picks out every fault in an album, which, you know, I feel
We
like
do.
on Renaissance he was talking to us
Yeah, absolutely.
to some degree, but you have to put yourself in the mindset of like, this is a nostalgia ride. Like, he's taking you for a ride on nostalgia lane. And that being said, there's a good amount of tracks I'm going to have fun with here.
Absolutely. I want to say this too. I feel like this is one of the most consistent track lists I've gotten from Eminem in a very long time. And you and I were having the conversation over the phone yesterday, and we're like, is this the best album since Hell the Sequel? It low-key is.
It might be.
You guys know how we feel about the Marshall Mathers LP2. I mean, Kamikaze was pretty solid, but you still have tracks on there like a Venom, for example.
Nice guy, good guy to take up almost half the track list.
For sure. Like, there's songs on there, and then I don't even want to get into Revival or Music to be Murdered
But
by,
I'm not sure if it's better than Marshall Mathers LP2 yet. Like, it's either the best since that one or since Hell the Sequel. I'm undecided there.
Anyways, it's within that echelon. So I'm happy at least we did not get his worst album on Friday. We got, a mid-table album.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could say that confidently. I don't know what fucking crack people are smoking saying that this is like top 3 in his catalog. The top 4 of Recovery, the Eminem Show, Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP are solidified. You cannot touch those albums. Even Recovery's low-key solidified.
Yeah.
You can't crack into those albums. Maybe you could crack into MMLP2. You could obviously do better than Revival and Music to be Murdered by, but there's definitely replay value in here. So let's go through the songs, Lou. What do you keep?
Yeah, songs. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do our top 5 songs. How about that?
Yeah, you want to do
Let's do our top 5 songs.
Okay, so how about this? What's truly a skip for you on this? What don't you like?
Okay, wait. I want to save that because that might come into a future video for the skips.
Oh, do these albums have any skips?
Yeah,
okay.
That might come in, guys. Little hint. So you want to do top 5 tracks in no order?
Top 5 tracks, no order.
Okay, Renaissance, easy.
For sure. Lucifer, easy.
Lucifer, Antichrist.
easy.
I got to put in Somebody Save Me. And then Fuel, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing Renaissance, Antichrist, Lucifer, Fuel for sure. Oh, bro, I really fuck with Brand New Dance, bro.
Oh, don't put it in the top 5.
Bro, I really like it. I really
No way.
enjoy it. I really
You're doing
enjoyed
it.
I really enjoy it. But no, I don't think so. I think I'd probably have to go with... You know what? Fuck it, bro. I'm doing it, man. I'm going Brand New Dance, bro.
Wow.
Because you know how much I love Encore.
That's crazy.
I'm a big Encore fan.
Listen, bro.
Yeah, but replay
Each their
value is
own.
good, though.
Replay value is good,
man.
and something I wanted to add into the production that also adds to the replay value is that I really did enjoy his dedication to the song-to-song transitions. For example, Renaissance going into Habits, or even how, like, at the end of Tobey, before going into the Guess Who's Back skit, that production carries over
And bleeds into it.
I like the intention behind just the sequencing of the track list, so I have to give him props for that. But let's get into the overall thoughts. I think that ultimately Eminem is showing that he's at a crossroads in his career where maybe he doesn't have too much subject matter to rap about if he doesn't harp back to this older era of his career, and that showed with repeated formulas for song concepts. I wish that we did get more original concepts under the Slim Shady moniker for the last go-around. That being said, I think that Eminem proves to the hip-hop world at large that he is still, bar none, one of, if not the best technical rapper in the mainstream area of hip-hop, when he chooses to be, because you also have awful performances and awful bars. Now, that being said, when it comes to the concept and the execution of it, I think it could have been better, but I don't want this album to age poorly. I think it could age well depending on what the next move is, because if he returns to Slim Shady and features Slim Shady in more songs and more albums, that will make this album purposeless from a concept standpoint. So we'll see how it ages. Overall, I think it's a decent attempt. There's highs, there's lows. But if you're an Eminem fan, you're going to have a hell of a good time. Good rating for me. What
Absolutely,
about you?
good rating. I completely agree. And, you kind of shared all my thoughts on the album. I feel like you were saying, this is a trip down nostalgia lane. You want to go back to 2002? Well, here's your chance to do it and enjoy yourself while you're there. I think there's great songs. I think there's super big highs on this album. And I think there's an argument to be made that this is maybe one of his best albums in the past 10 years, to be honest with you. As far as his next move goes, though, Eminem, I want to see that what is it?
Hell the fucking trequel?
Hell the trequel. Fuck it. If that's the way I could pronounce it. Just give me another collab album with Royce. That would
Fuck
be
yes.
crazy.
I would love it.
Yeah,
Royce's absence was felt on this album.
We were in
for sure.
Detroit the other week, man, and when we were bumping that album, it just felt absolutely incredible. So like Lou said, overall good rating. But guys, let us know how you feel about the Death of Slim Shady in the comments section. Let us know where we got it right, where we got it wrong, and which album should we review next. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.